Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. I'm your host, Jared Sebesta of Taatjes Financial Group, where we build purposeful retirement plans. At Taatjes Financial Group, we believe retirement planning is so much more than just preparing financially. Our goal is to help retirees and pre-retirees steward their time, talent, and treasure. We have the tools and proven process to make sure your retirement plan delivers the greatest purpose, impact, and legacy. If you need help building a purposeful retirement plan specific for your life and your situation, give us a call. Our number is 222-4236. You can request a meeting on our brand new website, taatjesfinancial.com. And if you live in the neighborhood, just stop by our office. We're located right on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer, building purposeful retirement plans. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for listening. Just a couple of announcements here before we get started with the show. We are now on iTunes. If you haven't been listening to us here the last couple of weeks, that's pretty cool. So if you're on iTunes, you like podcasting, search Time, Talent, Treasure Radio on iTunes. Click subscribe. You'll never miss a show if you do that. We are also on YouTube as well. So if you're not into podcasting but miss a show, again, you can go to our website, taatjesfinancial.com. But if you're also on YouTube, search Time, Talent, Treasure Radio, and you'll find all the content there. We are continuing this little series on retirement tools, and last week we covered the ins and outs of e-money software. And again, that's a really important tool that we use for high-end retirement planning. We covered the ins and outs of what that means for you as a client. If you missed that show, again, go back on iTunes and find that show. You can find it on our website, taatjesfinancial.com as well. Ben Taatjes joins me on the show here today. We're going to continue this mini-series. We've got a lot of tools up our sleeves, so to speak, and we need them because there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of specific situations. Nothing is really the same when it comes from client to client, is it?
No, it isn't, Jared. I think that's something that we kind of ended last week's show talking through was this idea that comes up a lot, and this question that's always come up is, how am I doing? And one of the questions that I hear most is probably that question. And, they tend to say, well, my neighbor did this, or I heard about this or that. And I think one of the problems with that question is that it is a comparative question. Mm-hmm. I think, we look at our situations, we say, as compared to who? Like, how am I doing compared to this person, compared to that person? I think once we can move past that, and when we can move into our own personal situation, our own goals, and our own worldview around finances, that's when we start to really develop a plan that works for people. Yeah. And there's been no tool or continuing education that I've been through that has helped me more than the Certified Kingdom Advisor or the CKA designation that I earned here a little bit over a year ago. Mm-hmm. And I think that as far as tools that I've added, just being able to ask the right questions and really shape how I go about my meetings, that designation has been huge for our clients.
The Certified Kingdom Advisor certification from Kingdom Advisor, some of you may have heard of that. I remember when you were going through that program, it's a pretty lengthy process, a lot of material to go through. You at that time, you had been in this business 15 plus years, probably had thousands, if not tens of thousands of meetings underneath your belt. Was that process more, about the numbers, or was it more about a worldview? Was it more about how to best help clients? How would you describe what that was like for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like you said, I'd been through so many meetings, and I've been a Christian, I'm a believer, and I'm a financial advisor, but that helped me really combine the two. And I think there's a difference there, and that's something that the CK designation pointed out is don't just be a Christian and a financial advisor, but be a Christian financial advisor. And there's a difference. Does that mean that if you're not a person of faith that you can't work with us and that you won't enjoy the process? Not at all. I find that people generally like the wisdom that comes from the Bible. I mean, there's so many things in there that really are hard to dispute. I mean, when it comes to just good stewardship decisions. And I mean, the Bible talks about money and finances over 2,300 times. Mm-hmm. And that wisdom is huge. But also just the line of questions, I think, Jared, that have come out of that work with Kingdom Advisors. It helps me go into a meeting asking the right questions. So when I have a newer client, I can really start to see the way they look at money through their eyes, which is different for everybody, right? I can't think of a discussion that I like to have more than, around why do you look at money the way you look at money? Okay, lots of my meetings will, at some point, we'll get into this discussion around, tell me about what money was like for you growing up.
Right.
And that's a question that if you haven't thought about, think about, because it has shaped how you look at retirement, how you now look at money, and everybody's different that way.
Yeah. I think retirement planning can be such a one-dimensional conversation. We talk about it at the intro of the show. It's not just financial planning. I think that there's so much more to it. Even going back to the question, am I okay? Another question we hear all the time, how much money do I need to retire? What's the magical number? And man, the conversation is just so multidimensional other than just about money.
Yeah, but again, that question you just posed to me, Jared, brings up another answer, if you will, that I've gained from my work with Kingdom Advisors. We have a discussion, a question around, let's help you set the finish lines. Right, we know in our society that the goalpost moves, and in fact, when we look at what does success look like, well, it's success for you looks different than what it did, 6 months ago, a year or 2 years ago. Because again, as we achieve certain things, we begin to set new goals, and some of those are good, but I think sometimes we have to ask ourselves, to what end? To what end are we trying to amass a certain dollar amount? Okay, so if somebody comes in and they know what they need to live on, and that's their goal, and they can say, it's not about, tell me how much I need to have. It's tell me how much you want to live on. So for a retirement plan, that's huge. It's a huge line of questioning that will get at really what they need to have saved. Is what do you want your lifestyle to look like? What's the finish line for you? Meaning, hey, I can live on whatever dollar amount per month. That's my goal. That's my finish line. Now let's develop a plan to help get you there.
Put yourself in the in a client's shoes, maybe somebody that's new to our firm. What does you having that designation, the CKA, mean to them?
Well, more than anything, a couple things. It is important to know the type of person you're dealing with. Again, I am a person who holds to certain truths. That should be important to them. But I think beyond that, they should expect a different level of wisdom and questions with what we go through. So, again, dealing with now thousands of people in my career, I've learned a ton from them. I've learned how to best ask the right questions, how to help people see how they look at money. But the big difference should be when we make those decisions and when we help our clients really through those big life decisions, that we can help them see why they look at money a certain way, why they look at life a certain way. And I think that's a key difference and something that the CKA designation and that training has brought to me.
I know stewardship has always been a really big thing on your radar, and I remember you going through that, and it kind of lit the fire to really, really help our clients, not just with their finances, but with charitable giving, wealth transfer. This is all kind of packaged in to that training as well.
Yeah, it is. I think the questions that we got to ask is, who owns it, right? So that's you start there with stewardship, and then you set the finish lines. How much do I need, and really how much what do I want my lifestyle to look like, and why, right? And then finally, is the next steward chosen, and are they prepared, right? I mean, that's the last piece of it is the person, because most of what you have, if you're a successful person, which we deal with a lot of successful people, who's coming up after you, and are they prepared to handle and to be that next chosen steward?
All right, Ben, we appreciate that. Well, are you ready to begin building a purposeful retirement plan that will best steward your time, your talent, and your treasure? If so, we can help. We have a number of ways you can set up a no-cost, no-obligation meeting. First, you can give us a call at 320-222-4236. You can go to our brand new website, taatjesfinancial.com, and click on Request a Meeting. Or if you live in West Central Minnesota and are in the neighborhood, just stop by our office. Our office hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. I'm Jared Sebesta, joining you on this episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Securities offered through Avantax Investment Services. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Avantax Advisory Services. Insurance services offered through an Avantax affiliated insurance agency.